Bingo.
I'm new to the Tech Challenge. Last year, I'm part owner of a small engineering company here in Silicon Valley. And last year, I was asked to come in and help them put together the Tech Challenge for the first time, and I fell in love with the event. It's just absolutely fantastic. This is our 25th year. I decided once again I'm coming back to help out again. It's such a unique event, unique in so many different ways, that as a father of a young girl who's just entering high school, I just think it's a great opportunity and a great way to introduce our kids to engineering and science. I was never given a formal introduction to engineering or science. And traditionally it wasn't something that my family went into. It wasn't even something that was considered. I went to San Jose State and got my major in theater arts. And now here I am trying to run an engineering company. So it's a unique path, but had I been given that introduction to engineering at a young age, had I known I had an aptitude for it, had I known I would enjoy it, who knows where I would have been today. And so that's kind of the approach that I take. And when I came to this competition last year, and I saw the unique application of it, the way that it's really less of a competition about, though it is science and engineering, it really is about teamwork. It really is a team competition. And what I liked about it is understanding, is emphasizing to the students that you don't have to necessarily be a math whiz to succeed in engineering. That's a very, very important that you have an aptitude for it. But you need to, for this competition, it's about team engineering. It's about being engaged. It's about being part of a solution. It's about contributing. And so that's one of the things I really enjoy about it. That's one of the things I find most fascinating about this competition. This is why I'm so committed to it. And
I think you just have to open up your computer. I didn't want to.
Great, thank you very much. As I said, this is the 25th anniversary. And one of the great things about it after 25 years is you find so many people that have gone through the competition. Just moving up here. And I was talking to a young lady the other day who's a junior at USC, and she's majoring in biomechanical engineering. And she went to this competition 4 consecutive years. And she talked about that being her introduction to sciences. And she started in the 9th grade and went all the way through high school. And so she's going to come back this year for our 25th anniversary and talk to some of the students. But running into people like that and talking to people that have been through this before, it's just really been rewarding for me.
After 4 o'clock, our district shuts it off. You have to skip it. That's very coward. Did you guys get it?
I can start with the video from last year.
You know, the only reason I circled this is because you circled it. That was a very question.
Problem here. Okay, play, baby. Sorry.
It happens.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to take care of that. I was going to do the windshield out, actually. So that we know.
They try, are you?
There. There.
Celebrate that.
So as you see in the course of the day, we have lots of different solutions, lots of different teams.
Marvin here, our helmet, it supports our device, but with a string, you can flip it around. All of it can like fold in half, so it's a compact design. It's very lightweight.
So you guys got a friendly competition going on though?
Friendly competition.
We think that we have a good solution, so we're just crossing our fingers and hoping it works.
We just got to like go at it with whatever we had.
Big, big, big Heat of fusion! Heat of fusion! Arg!
What is your team name?
Zombie Hops.
We can accomplish often a lot more working together as a team than we can as individuals separately.
And we need to really put the team effort in.
We're just working together.
Okay, we picked up one ball, no capstan, so that's too bad.
We haven't calibrated it.
You don't get it perfectly aligned.
Any advice that you could give to future teams as far as winning it all?
Fail. And then improve on that. Because if you don't fail, you can't win.
It's true, particularly in Silicon Valley, fail.
Failure is really okay, and we can learn from our failures.
Try and fail over and over and over because it means you are taking risks.
We had a lot of different designs, kept failing. We knew nothing about the programming, and we had a robot and everything. So I think, we just had a lot of teamwork. We had a lot of just being able to take a breath and jump back in and say, okay, let's figure out what's wrong.
We believe in competitions like this because they sponsor the next generation of innovators.
You guys are amazing. You have huge ideas that are solving huge problems.
I get asked all the time, hey, what's next? And it's always nice to look out at you guys because you are what's next.
You have the ideas that are going to change the world.
You're going to grow up to be the next generation of engineers and CEOs, and so we're counting on you to invent some cool stuff in the future.
You guys want to come back again next year? Yeah! Heck yeah, very good.
1, 2, 3.
Thanks very much for coming. We look forward to having you back next year.
Sorry for the delay, but it was worth the update.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It's such a great one.
Was that last year?
Yeah, that was last time.
Where do we get that clip?
This is actually available on YouTube, actually. I pulled it off before I came over here. But it's such a cool competition. Last year we had 1,200 students, which is our biggest yet. I think the year prior to that we had about 900. And so we had a group that we did a satellite link with a group in New York. We also did a cooperative program with a group in San Diego. It's really turned into a wonderful program. And it's just after 25 years in the community, it's one that's had some real longevity because it is so unique. And let's talk about it a little bit in detail.
By the hall. And then you can pull trash and pull it in there also.
Something that's definitely off the wall. Yeah.
Okay, this year's competition is called Shake, Rattle, and Rescue, and it's an engineering. Once again, it is an engineering competition, and the purpose of this is to create a solution to help earthquake survivors. An earthquake that severely damages a suspension bridge, and you have to create a device that will reach and rescue stranded people. It's open to grades 5 to 12. You get teams of 2 to 6 people. Adult advisors are required. As far as the advisors are concerned, a lot of times we get folks who come in and they have really good intentions, but they get engineering backgrounds and they end up trying to do the project for the children themselves. And so it's really important that our advisors are simply there to provide the structure. One of the things that we've also discovered, or I've discovered in doing outreach with parents specifically, if you go to a parent and say, we have an engineering competition and we need an advisor, the first thing they do is go, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about engineering. Well, that's one of the things we want to dispel. It's really not important that you know anything about engineering. Like the students, it's important that the advisors be engaged and that they be there just to provide the structure for the students. The students will work through the problems themselves. But there are no pre-qualifying conditions to enter. Special needs students are encouraged, and solutions can be treated with common low-cost materials. And this one, the special needs students, that's the one that's close to my heart, because my second daughter has severe autism. And last year we had a team there of all children that had autism, and it was unbelievable. They were great. They were hilarious, actually. But they did a great job, and it was great to see that, because our kids need a lot of exposure. They need to be out there giving those same challenges that other kids get. So that was one that's real close to my heart. That one too. We do info clinics. The info clinics are basically, this is a PowerPoint that we do at the info clinics. It's just there to give information to parents, to advisors, to students. It's open to the public, so anyone can attend, whether you're registered or not. If you're thinking about attending or thinking about joining the competition, we'd like for you to come down to our info clinics. Our next one is January 21st and 28th. Then we have them February 11th and 25th. One thing I've implemented since I've started working there, last year, I thought it was really important to show the connection between what's happening in the real world and our competition. Last year, for those who remember last year's competition, it was about removing trash from the oceans. So we had Dr. George Matsumoto from the Monterey Bay Aquarium attend one of our info clinics and give a speech on what they found in their kind of research and what they're doing. This year, we have people who are attending in January 21st and 28th. We have speakers from Task Force 3. Is anybody familiar with who Task Force 3 is? They're like the SEAL Team 6 of rescue units. And they're here in Menlo Park. Whenever there's a catastrophe anywhere in the world, Task Force 3 is dispatched there. Whether it be New Orleans, Japan, the World Trade Center, they have seismic engineers, they have rescue workers. They are one of the first ones that are dispatched out there to those units. So we just had a seismic engineer from Task Force 3 speak at our last October 29th presentation. He was great. So we have 2 more speakers, January 21st and 28th. I'd encourage you, even if you haven't decided if you want to enter a team, I'd encourage you to bring some kids to that one. We'll go over this type of information. Then it's followed up with the speaker from the task force. He talks. This particular speaker, I believe, the last speaker was a seismic engineer. I think this guy's also a seismic engineer. And they talk about how they got into the field, what drives them to do this, because these guys aren't paid to do this. They have regular jobs. It's just kind of like, they're like superheroes. They hear the call and they drop their jobs and they come run into one place and they get dispatched all over the world to do these kind of rescue operations. It's really interesting to hear their perspective. Just a little sidebar, this particular gentleman was talking about, as a seismic engineer, his job wasn't to rescue people, but it was to secure structures and to secure the safety of the rescue workers themselves, which is a really unique perspective that the kids needed to hear. And it's really great to have that kind of professional input so the kids know that what we're doing and what they're talking about has a real world application. In addition to that, we also have San Jose State University School of Engineering students involved. They're helping out at the info clinics, and they're going to be there the day of the event so they can give out information, talk to parents about engineering school and that kind of thing, which is also great because when I went to San Jose State in 1980, there was very few people, very few women in the engineering school. When I went back to speak there last year, they're like 42% female, which is unbelievable, which is really encouraging as well. Because diversity and the demographic is something I'm also concerned about, making sure that everybody's included. So to see the girls and see young women involved at that level is really encouraging. Test trials. We have test trials. What we do is we actually set up a rig so students can come in and test their device. And they're given an opportunity to actually test it out on a real rig. They have judges that are there, and it gives them an opportunity to actually do a little industrial espionage, looking at the other devices, because we do encourage that. So we do that on Saturdays, starting in March. We have the Sunday test trial in April, and then the event day is on Saturday, the 21st. Well, in general, this is most of this I've talked about, but it does provide several months of team learning in science and engineering. It inspires our next generation of Silicon Valley innovators, which is really kind of cool. It provides information clinics, workshops, and all of our events take place at the Tech Museum. The rules. Basically, we try not to give too many rules. One of my favorite rules is if the design's not prohibited by the rules, they're acceptable. Because otherwise, you end up. We give these info clinics. We have 100 kids in every info clinic, and every time we get different questions. Kids just their minds are they're just so open to the wildest ideas that we don't want to restrain them. So a lot of times they'll say, "Can I do this?" And it's like, well, it doesn't say you can't. You know, the only thing we're worried about is safety. It doesn't burn. If it's not something that's flammable, if you're not shooting something out at high pressure, then you're pretty much all right. And we do have all of our information is all posted on our website. The challenge is to design a device to rescue a person stranded on a suspension bridge and return that person back to shore in 3 minutes or less. We're going to skip through this because I want you to see what the device looks like because it's really cool. This is a side view of it, obviously in CAD, but let me show you. I have a real picture of it. This is above. This is the real device itself.
That's your bridge?
This is the bridge itself. This is the platform where the person's going to be, and this is where you have to operate, where your rescue has to happen, from back here.
How is that?
It's about 10 feet.
Okay. It's hard to tell. It could be 20 from
Yeah,
this
it's about
picture.
10 feet.
Okay.
So, and this ring is 10 feet tall as well. But this is currently down in our gallery, and starting in March, we'll have 2 of these down there where students can actually come down on days and actually utilize the rig and practice on their solution. And it's interesting, the ones that come down and take advantage of those test trials are always the ones that end up doing the best because they failed 4 or 5 times before they got into the finals.
So
Yes.
is there going to be like a dummy at the other end?
No, actually, that's part of the design process. Is the students have to design their own person to be rescued.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can design your own person. They have strict rules on the size and dimensions of the design. And believe me, I've heard everything. I've heard people call me up and say, what if the suit's made out of magnets? That's well, as long as you can explain how he got a magnetic suit, that's fine with us. Doesn't say it can't be. So it's really an interesting competition.
Question?
Yes, sir.
That looks like you have in that back end, it looks like you had some sort of, they don't have to be inside that cabling, is it, or something?
No.
The whole team can be back there.
No, there's a whole team back here, so it's a 4x4 area. We also have another 2x2 area we reserved over here as a spotters area to kind of help them. The spotter's not able to touch anything, but they're able to give them verbal commands and that kind of thing to help them along the way.
So they have a certain amount of time to rescue as many?
They have one person, they have 3 minutes to get the bat. And this is above, the view from above. This is the operating area, this is the spotters area, this is the top of the tower.
So they can't actually be on that block?
No, they can't go beyond this area at all.
So,
yes.
no, what's considered a rescue? Is the rescue just actually picking the person up, or is it picking the person up and bringing them out? Right?
You have to bring them all the way back here to either this platform or to shore.
One person.
One person. Now these guys have come up with, I've got students that are talking about creating devices that crawl up the cable. I've got them talking about creating devices that simulate a boat that goes up with a hook. I mean, you name it. It's helicopters, all kinds of things. So it's really kind of nice to hear them sit up and talk about and just go through the creative process and kind of work through it. And it's not going to be a very simple process. For example, if someone goes and buys a helicopter and comes over and hooks them up, I mean, you know, my classic answer to that is, do we give, you know, credit to you or to Radio Shack for the helicopter? If you buy a helicopter and create some kind of a mechanism that hangs from it that picks the person up, then that's okay. So it's that kind of process that we try to encourage with the students.
Is the dummy allowed to hit the floor, or is that disqualified once it touches?
No, that's interesting. The student asked me that the other day. He says, if I'm rescuing the person,
And drag his butt across.
do they have to come back completely unscathed? I said, if you're being rescued, you want to come back unscathed, wouldn't you? But, let's see. As a matter of fact, let's go in. Here's one of the things we talked about, the spirit of the challenge. And you have to create a rescue solution that would be practical in real life. So one of the things we talk about is you can't come in with a stick that's 10 feet long with some masking tape on the other end and duct tape. You have to be able, it has to be something that's scaled down that can be replicable in the real world. Or at least something that may be replicable in the future, technology that maybe should be developed. So that's kind of one of the things that we emphasize. A couple of years ago, they had one where there was you had to remove some debris from space, and the students showed up with a helicopter, and it's, well, will the helicopter work in space? No, so that was one of the, so that's one of the things we kind of get.
And that year also, a lot of students had a lot of big, long poles.
Yes.
For it, so I noticed after that, there's been restrictions now on
Yes.
how big your
Yes.
device can be, because that was really dangerous, everyone had these really long poles.
Yeah, we're real strict on that one because this type of rescue thing really lends itself to long poles. So that's one we're really strict on. We have designed your own survivor to be rescued. So you get an opportunity to kind of create your own survivor. It has real strict rules as far as the size. As you can see, the survivor has to fit into a 6x4 by 3 inch space. No duct tape or Velcro, you know, and it has to be a reasonable representation of a person. And once again, students are challenged with that. They're saying, okay, and one of the questions I always ask them, is it easier to rescue a heavy object or a lighter? Would it be easier to rescue a battery or a feather? They need to work that kind of thing out. And it's kind of interesting to see the wheels turning in their heads.
Is that length, width, and height?
Yes, it's basically length, width, and height. It has the, it's 6 inches long by 4 inches high by 3 inches wide.
That's a little person.
Yeah. Well, it's a real, well, it's a scaled down model of the,
That's a big me.
The judges will check the team survivor ahead of time. They have a little box they have to fit in. And they position it on the deck before starting the 3-minute count. Let's see. This is the most important thing of the whole competition. This is not a science fair. It really is an engineering challenge. So you have to have an engineering design journal that records all team activities. Anytime you sit down and you have a meeting, what you talked about, who was there, how long you met, what ideas were there. We really want to emphasize that team competition. We really want to emphasize the fact that everybody contributes. At the end, when these journals are reviewed by the judges, if you have a team of 6 people and you walk up there with that one journal and one person does all the talking, the judge is going to stop and ask the other people what they contributed. It's really, really important that we bring that out and that we emphasize that team competition. That's really what we're really all about. So, and also making sure that kids understand, and I keep saying kids, I shouldn't be saying students, that they understand how important keeping these records are and how important the engineering process, how important the journal is to the engineering process. Being able to trace back over your failures and how you progress to get to where you are. Something I'm still learning myself right now, but it's really, really critical. All the stuff that, once again, is on our website if you guys would like to check that out. The Engineering Design Journal has that brainstorming notes, once again, evidence of analysis, team meetings, prototypes, all that kind of information. We also talk about budgets and receipts, but I also like to emphasize, too, that I've seen people go out and spend $300 on a robot and a computer and all this kind of stuff. And one team in particular last year, they came in with 3 laptops and 3 computers, and they were messing around. It never worked. And the people that came in basically came in with a bunch of household items that they made on broomsticks and string, and they won the competition. So it's really not about how much you spend, and I really try to emphasize that with people, but at the same time, you know, some folks do. If you do that, once again, that does need to be kept in your engineering design journal as part of what the records that you're keeping. And that's it. Shake, Rattle, and Rescue. I've got a bunch of flyers over here. Thank you very much. I've got a bunch of flyers over here. If you have any questions, please, I also left my business cards there. Please don't hesitate to give me a call or to look us up on the website. Like I said, this is my 2nd year doing this. I absolutely love it. If I didn't have a full-time job, I'd probably do this full-time. But it's something that's really close to my heart. And I hope you consider at least taking a look at what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.